All right, boys, well overdue. A prop firm tier list from the best, the second best, the third best, all the way to the worst. Let's get into that. So first of all, as S tier, we have Top Step, and fairly simple. Let's go over their rules, their funding, and everything of the good stuff. So first of all, we got Top Step, pretty reputable firm. Years in operation 13, January 2012 is when they got created. Now, they got good payments method. They got American Express, debit card, Discovery, blah, 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 PayPal, and everything. Their payout method, we have ACH, bank wire transfer, and Wise. Wise is wonderful. Their account size, we have the 50K, the 100K, and the 150K. On the 50K, you can trade up to 5 minis, that's 50 micros. On the 100K, you can trade the 10 minis, that's 100 micros. And on the 150, you can trade up to 150 micros or 15 minis. Now they have a wonderful consistency rule, which is no consistency rule on the funded, the actual funded. On the eval, you cannot make more than 50% of the 3K, which is 1.5 a day if you trade a 50K. Now, once you take a payout on Top Step, let's say you have a 11K buffer, right? You have 11K, you take 5K off, you now have 6K. That 6K is going to be your buffer, as we can see right here. After a payout, the remaining capital in the account becomes the maximum allowable losses. So let's say you have 3,000 left in the account after a payout. You can only lose that 3,000, but that's a good buffer, right? An activity rule, you have to trade at least once every 30 days, which is wonderful because we have other firms that you'll see further down the list that they don't have that, and it's kind of annoying. You'll see. Now, payout policy, we get 100% of our profits up to the first 10,000, but that's a bit misunderstood because once you take a payout on Top Step, let's say your balance is 1,000, you can only take 50%, but you get 100% of that 50%, if that makes sense. Now, you also need 5 days above $150 in order to take a payout. That they don't have to be consecutive, so you can take $150 a day in 3 days and 4 days, as long as it's five. Then you can request 50% of your balance that you get 100% of that 50% that you just requested, if that makes sense. Now, they have a lot of restricted countries, as you can see right there. But overall, solid firm. I would give them a 9.5 out of 10. The only thing I do not like about Top Step is that you cannot withdraw 100% or kind of gauge your own buffer as you want, right? You can only withdraw 50% of your whole balance, which is, it's kind of annoying to be honest. Now let's get into the number two, which is also a S tier, is going to be My Funded Future. I love My Funded Future, but let's get into that. So My Funded Future, fairly new firm, years in operation, one. It's about to get on its second, right? So super reliable. They pay out super quick. Their support is wonderful. Now platform, they want up top stuff on that. They have a lot of platform. They have Atlas Order Trading, whatever that is, Ninja Trader, Quant Tower, TradingView, Tradeivate, Volbook, Volc, volumetric trading, however that is, their payment method, which means you can pay them debit, credit, crypto, played. Payout method, RiseWorks, ACH. They also take Wise. I don't know why it's not there. They also take Wise. Now they have three sets of account. They have the core, the scale, and the pro. On the core, it's only a 50K account. You can trade up to 3 minis or 30 micros, right? And you also have a 50% consistency rule on the eval, just like on Top Step. So you need to make 3K. You cannot make more than 1.5 a day. Now on the scale account, they have 50, 100, and 150K. On the 50K, you can trade up to 3 minis, 30 micros, 100K, 6 minis, 60 micros, and under 50, 9 minis or 90 micros. Same thing for the pro. Consistency rule, we've talked about that only on the evaluation. Now, news trading, forgot that about Top Step. Top Step, you can trade any news, but on My Funded Future, you can only trade certain news, but on evaluation, you can trade all of them. Now, on funded, it's the T1 news, such as oil. When there's the oil inventories, that's a T1. Let's say FOMC, I do believe it's a T1. There's a lot of them, right? You have to look into their calendar that they have. You can copy trade. You can use your own algo if you have an algo, which is a plus, right? Because on Top Step, you cannot use algos. Now, the activity rule, that's where it's kind of shitty. You have to take a trade every 7 calendar days. So let's say you take a trade on a Tuesday, you have to have taken a trade on the next Monday. If you haven't taken a trade on that next Tuesday, they deactivate your account, which is kind of annoying. Payout policy, super nice. With a core account, you have to have 5 winning a day of at least $100 each. Can be today, in 3 days, in 4 days, doesn't have to be consecutive. The minimum payout is 250 and the max is 1,000. They also have a list of restricted country, as you can see right here. But as a whole, super solid firm. I would give them a 9.7. The only thing that's different from Top Step is the news trading and the activity rules. That's what does it for me. Now in the A roll, we have Alpha Futures. Alpha Future, a fairly new prop firm as well. It's been in operation for a year, a bit less than My Planet Future, which is going on its second year right here. But let's go over that. Now they use the Top Step broker, which is Project X, right? Which is also Alpha Tick right here. They also offer NinjaTrader, Quantower, TradingView, and Tradeify, which is the basics. They take credit and debit card as a payment, and for payout, you got ACH, Bankwire, RiseWork, Swift, and Wise. Now the leverage, the account size, you have the 50K, which is up to 5 contracts or 50 micros, the 100K, 10 or 100 micros, 150, 15 contracts or 150 micros. That's for the normal account. Now they also have a 50% consistency rule on EVA. So if you have to make 3K, you cannot make more than 1.5 a day. And then after that, on the funded accounts, it's a 40% consistency rule. Now, all or nothing, that means full porting. You cannot full port. They do not allow that. You cannot micro scalp for like position, like it says right here. If you open the trade for less than 2 minutes, multiple times, they're going to flag you and most likely deny your account. Gambling tendencies, as you can see right here, they do not like gambling at all. Price limit, 2% of the prohibited CME limit. I do believe this is 10% a day. If it dumps to 10% a day, I don't remember if it's 10 or 15%, but you cannot trade at that 8% mark or that 13% mark, depending. I'd have to do my research here. Max payout is going to be 15K. You cannot use any bots, any AI. You cannot use any algos as a whole. Now, payout policy for the standard program is every 14 day, you need to have a 40% consistency rule. The minimum payout has to be 200, right? And the maximum is 15%. 15,000. What am I saying? Zero program. Weekly payout after 5 winning days with 200 plus. So that's just like Top Step, old accounts. And you have to have a 40% consistency rule, right? Which the consistency rule I'm not too much of a fan of. And the zero program is literally just like a Top Step apart from that 40% consistency rule. But they do have a cap payout of 1.5K for the 50K account or 3K for the 100K account. There's a lot of restricted countries, as you can see right here. You can take a look, see if your country is there. Overall, I would rate this prop firm a 9.2. The reason being that there's a lot of rule regarding the consistency. Other than that, super good. They pay out and everything. Next, I would put Take Profit Trader into the B column. Now, Take Profit Trader has been operating for 4 years, started March 2021. Their broker is CQG, Rhythmic, and Tradeify. Their platform is, there's a whole list of platform. You can pause and read it. Payout method, PayPal, Plaid, and Wise. We love Wise. You can pay them with built-in wallet, credit card, debit card, and PayPal. Now they have multiple accounts, 25K, 50K, 75K, 100K, and 150K. For the 25K, 3 contracts or 30 micros, 50K, 6 cons, 60 micros, 75, 9 or 90, 112 or 120, 150, 15 or 150. Now they have a round trip commission of $5, so $5 per, right? Kind of annoying. Consistency rule, minimum of 5 trading days, just the normal, I would say. 50% consistency rule. No trading day must exceed more than 50%. That's just like Top Step and all the others, right? You cannot full port and pass the account in 1 day. No consistency rule on Pros and Pro Plus, by the way. News trading is allowed during the evaluation. Now on Pros and Pro Plus, restricted 1 minute before the event happens. You have a list of all the events right here. Copy trading is allowed. Now we have test and pro stage. That is end of day trading. So that means day closes at 5. Your drawdown follows you at 5. Now for pro stage intraday trading, that's, let's say you get in a trade as a 1,000 plus. You go back to break even, you now lost $1,000 worth of drawdown. For the Pro Plus account, you can copy trade up to 5 account. Drawdown is at the end of the day, no payout restriction, no consistency rule, no daily loss limit, no buffer zone, and you get 90% of your profit split. For the Pro account, you get a split of 80%. For the Pro Plus account, you get a split of 90%. Here are the restricted countries. There's a lot. Now, I would rate this firm I'd say a 9, a solid 9. The only reason, again, is the consistency rule and the trailing drawdown and everything. That's something I do not personally enjoy, but solid firm overall. Now we have Aqua Future that I would put in the C section. Now, Aqua Future has been created less than a year ago. It's going on its first year now. Their broker is the CME Group. They have the Project X platform and nothing else. Their payout method is going to be crypto and RiseWorks. Now you can pay them with crypto or debit credit card as a whole. Now you have the beginner account, which is 25, 50, 100, and 150K. You can see the contract 25, 1, 53, 106, 159. And for the standard, you have all of these right here, which is 25K 2 contracts, 50K 5, 110, 150, 15, and instant, which is instant funding, 25K 1 contract, 50K 3 contracts, 100K 6 contracts. Now they have a 40% consistent rule on eval and funded, not the instant account, but on the normal accounts, right? Which is, it's all right. You know, it's a consistency rule. You kind of can feel how I feel about the consistency rule already. Now, for instant account, which is you buy an account and you get instantly funded, you cannot go over 20% of your total profit. So let's say you have $1,000 profit, you cannot get more than 1,000 times 0.20. So kind of annoying, to be honest. And for Instant Pro, it's 15%, so super strict. Now for payout, again, we have the 5-day at least of trading that you have to have in order to have a payout. For instant account, it's 7 days, and each day has to be, let's say you have a 25K account on an instant account, $75 and above for 5 days. And if it's a 50K, it's going to be $100 and above. Same thing for the Instant Pro accounts. Now, you cannot have an automated strategy. You cannot micro scalp. You cannot have a full automated strategy. You cannot manipulate the market, which we don't do that anyway. You cannot micro scalp, as I just said, right? Which micro scalp, high frequency, kind of the same thing, right? You cannot trade on news. You can't trade on news. Copy trading is allowed if the account you copy from belongs to you, but you cannot copy accounts from other traders, right? Let's say your friend takes a trade, you cannot copy his trade and so on, right? Now, buffer zones, standard account only 25K, you need 26.3 in order to withdraw, 50K, 52.6, 100K, 103.6, 150, 155.1. When requesting within the buffer zone, you are required to withdraw 60% of your profit. The remaining 40% will stay in your account. So just like when you request with TopStep, essentially. Minimum is 500. And let's say you withdraw below the buffer zone, your drawdown will be adjusted to, let's say it's a 50K account, to 50K.1, so $50,100. Now the max payout per account, 25K is going to be 750, 50 is going to be 1.5, 103, 150, 4.5. Instant funding, 25K, 1K, 50K, 2K, and then so on and so on and so on, right? They also have the 2% price limit, which we've talked about a bit about Tradeify, I believe. Now, for payouts, every 7 day for beginners account and every 14 days for standard accounts. As you can see, there's a lot of rules. Profit splits, you get 100% for the first 15K that you get, and after that, it's 90%. And for the 5 minimum profitable days on the 25K is going to be $75, 50K 100, 100K 200, and 150K 300. There's also a fair amount of restricted country, as you can see right here. Now, what would I rate this firm? I would rate it a nice 8.5. You know, there's a lot of rules. There's a lot of rules, but they're legit, and I know they pay out, so good firm overall. Now we're gonna move up a bit. For beginner accounts, we have Bulenox right here. Now, Bulenox, on the evaluation, you can pass it in one go. Now, the maximum sizing for a 25K is gonna be up to 3 contracts. For a 57, for 112, for 150, 15, for 250, 25, and so on and so on, right? If it's 25, well, it's 250 micros. Now, in order to get a payout, you need to trade for 10 days, which is a bit harsh, but you need to trade for 10 days. Payout cap is $1,000. Now, you also keep 100% of your profits for the first 10K. After that, it's 90%. You can use NinjaTrader, RTrader, Pro, Quantower, and Project X for them. You also have either the choice to go for end of day drawdown, which is the drawdown that does not follow you, or you can use for daily drawdown or intraday drawdown as you will, which follows you, which is a bit more annoying. Now on Bulenox, you can use news, you can trade on news. So overall, Bulenox is a solid firm. Now after that, we have Apex, which I would put in the C. Now Apex created 4 years ago on January 2021. Their broker is Rhythmic and Tradeify, right? Rhythmic would be NinjaTrader and Tradeify would be, well, Tradeify or TradingView. Platform, they have a lot of platforms, as you can see right here. Payout method, plain ACH, payout method for you to pay credit or debit cards. Now, they have a lot of accounts right here. You have the 25, the 50, the 75, the 100, 150, 250, and 300. I will let you read all the contract limits right here. Now, you do have a 30% consistency rule where your day cannot be above 30%, and they are super strict on that. Now, you cannot go with 5 contract on one trade and 1 contract on the other. They will not like this, right? As you can see, drastic inconsistency in trading size is not allowed. Trader must contain consistent with his trading size. You can also only use half of your sizing, so you could only use 20 until you meet where is it? until you meet the trailing threshold stop, which is going to be on the 50K, it's going to be 2.6K. Maximum of 5-to-1 risk reward ratio. So let's say you're risking $100, you cannot go for a $20 profit, if that makes sense. Now, open trade should not exceed 30% of negative drawdown for the account profit balance. Kind of annoying. Why do we have this rule? Now, you cannot buy multiple accounts and all day long and all day short on the news, right? Here's the consequences for that. Now, in order for you to take a payout, if you want to take out the safety net, which would be within the buffer, you need to have 52,600, and then you can take out $500. Now, they have a lot of restricted countries, as you can see right here. Now, the reason I'm putting them lower than other ones is not because they're bad, right? It's just because there's better opportunities within the prop firm market, for my opinion. Apex is still super good, right? It's still in the C section. There, we got nothing in the D, the E, and the F, right? So still super valid, right? You know, they're cheap. They're super good if you want to start trading, right? If you don't want to break the bank. Same for Bulenox. They're cheap. They're good if you want to start trading, right? So top step, MFFU, Alpha Future, Take Profit, Bulenox, Aqua, and then Apex, right? So on that, that was the prop firm tier list. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, leave a comment. Make sure you follow, subscribe everywhere at Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and all my links are going to be in the description.